He is the MVP with the lowest draft ranking. He is the NBA's current first center. He is a center with control skills. He is pork belly from the Denver Plateau. He is Nikola Jokic. Today I'm introducing you to the back-to-back MVP, Jokic. Born on February 19, 1995. Jokic hails from Sombor, Serbia. In 1999, when he was 4 years old, Serbia was in the midst of war, turmoil inside and out. Back then, the Jokic family of 5 lived in a house with only 2 rooms. He once recalled that period. The only memory I have is hearing sirens all the time. Every day, air raid shelters were being built nearby. The entire city was frequently without power. We lived in darkness every day. Every day, the cries of people could be heard. I never want to have such an experience again. At that time, people were losing their lives every day in Serbia. The 4-year-old Jokic had to face the fear of war. It's hard to imagine. But fortunately, Jokic's family was not involved in the war. The family safely made it through the turmoil. And Jokic grew up in this environment. Although his parents did not work in the sports industry, but his 2 older brothers both played basketball. Under the influence of his brothers, Jokic started playing basketball at a young age. Initially, Jokic played as a point guard, honing his dribbling skills, mastering agile footwork and a wide field of view, along with a great hand in game-changing passes. At the age of 16, the then Jokic, 2 meters and 1 tall, gradually improved his skills. But from his appearance, one might infer a predilection for good food, belief in the power of knowledge, and a fondness for drinking soda, allegedly at least 3 liters per day. This caused Jokic's weight to seriously exceed the standard. Though growing impressively in height, his girth was even more remarkable, to the point where his corpulent body made Jokic despise exercise. His coach noted, Nikola couldn't even do a single push-up. Anyone looking at this portly youngster wouldn't have thought he could make it to the NBA. Although Jokic's best sport was basketball, his favorite sport was actually horse racing. He found the horse's physique extremely strong and beautiful, believing riding them would feel great. Hence, he dedicated a significant portion of his time on this sport. His father, also a basketball fan, frequently stayed up late to watch NBA broadcasts. Ever since Jokic entered professional competition, he never missed a single match involving his son. Why was Jokic, who outperformed Towns and Capella in international competitions, only a second-round show? At 17, Jokic signed his first contract in Serbia. In his first season, he was assigned to the second team for experience. In his second season, he successfully joined the first team, averaging 11.4 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game. He could break through and shoot in the game, and rip the opponent's defense line with ghostly passes. Jokic had a unique touch and feel for the ball. But at this time, Jokic had some physical disadvantages. No one thought he could make it into the NBA, including Jokic himself. Despite making good achievements in local competition, they only existed on a local scale. Until one day, an European basketball agent, Mix, saw Jokic's excellent performance of 25 points and 6 assists on a newspaper, and it immediately piqued his interest. The next week, he saw Jokic's name on the newspaper again, but he never heard of that name before. He noticed Jokic's talent and potential, became interested in Jokic, and started sending scouts to investigate Jokic's situation. The scout report was very simple. His body management was terrible, and he was seriously overweight. But he had a good basketball talent. Upon seeing the scout report, the agent made up his mind, called a friend, got on a plane, and went to Serbia to sign a contract with Jokic. When joining a new team, Jokic, under the team's designated rigorous training, started to lose weight and his skills kept improving. Considering his physical conditioning, the team would strictly control his playing time. After a period of trial and error, the team discovered a problem with Jokic. That is, he didn't desire competing much in the games. His feeling about basketball still lingered on the fun he had while playing with his buddies and brothers as a child. He only thought that all you need to have fun while playing basketball. Winning was not so important. In order to stimulate Jokic's competitiveness, the agent would usually tell Jokic before the game, "If you win this game, I'll treat you to a big meal." Afterwards, the agent said, "Of all the players I've handled, only Jokic was like this." After being coached by the team and his family, Jokic began to pay attention to basketball. He gradually entered the NBA's vision. At that time, draft websites commented on him as follows: "He has a very high basketball IQ, good personality, correct attitude towards the game, a great team player. However, athletic ability is his biggest drawback. He doesn't look muscular, and his jumps are average. His draft model is Vucevic." In 2014, Jokic was invited to participate in the Nike Hoop Summit hockey tournament. In this game, he scored a game-high 20 points, outperforming top competitors like Towns and Capella. Jokic then declared his participation in the NBA draft that year. But most scouts put a big question mark on his chances. because Jokic's body type was hard to fit into the NBA. Combined with the 2003 second pick, Darko Milicic, who exited the NBA because of not acclimatizing, people couldn't help but question whether Jokic could repeat the tragedy of 11 years ago. If the 2014 draft was reordered, where would you put Jokic? The time came to the 2014 draft. After the Nuggets scouts analysis, the Denver team decided to take a gamble on this pork belly from Serbia. In the end, the Nuggets selected this Serbian with the 41st pick in the second round, whose visible talent was just SOSO. The Nuggets also stated this was a bold attempt. When he learned that his younger brother had been selected for the NBA, Jokic's brother immediately called to tell him the good news. Unbelievably, Jokic, who had entered the draft, was asleep at the time. Although he was successfully selected for the NBA, Jokic was not in a hurry to land in the United States. He decided to hone his skills in the European competition for another year. In this season, he completely dominated the league. Due to the departure of the team's main force, Jokic's playing time increased significantly. He was averaging 18.4 points, 10 rebounds, and 2.7 assists, successfully being elected the MVP of Serbia. Jokic also officially decided to kick off his NBA career. In 2015, Jokic officially went to the Denver Plateau. During this offseason, Jokic decided to lose weight to adapt to the intensity of the NBA. Under his brother's supervision, Jokic successfully lost about 30 pounds, 14 kilograms. In his first NBA season, Jokic didn't establish a stable starting role in the team because he had to compete with the 16th pick rookie, Nurkic, in the same position. But under such circumstances, he was still able to put up an all-around stat line of 10 points, 7 rebounds, and 2.4 assists in just 21.7 minutes per game. By the end of the season, he also made the all-rookie first team. Meanwhile, he ranked third in the Rookie of the Year voting. From this moment on, the name Jokic started to be remembered by the fans. In the 2016 Rio Olympics, Jokic led Serbia to win the silver medal. Coming into his second season, Jokic's performance had long surpassed Nurkic's. His skills and IQ were very suitable for the era of small ball. He was even hailed as the modern magician by the team's head coach, Malone. In this season, the team chose to trade Nurkic away and chose to promote Jokic. His influence on the court grew larger. The team put Jokic as the power forward, Nurkic as the center. But the two centers system didn't work well. In the 8 games where Jokic started, the Nuggets only won 3. In the game against the Warriors on November 10, 2016, Jokic only got 4 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists in 18 minutes. After the game, Jokic ran to head coach Malone's office and said, "We can't play like this. Let me continue to play as a substitute." After that, Jokic was benched for 14 games. As the Nuggets' record went downhill, time came to December 12th. In the game against the Mavericks, Jokic, coming off the bench, got a game-high 27 points, but still was unable to turn the tide, as they lost by 20 points. It was then when the coach realized the importance of Jokic. Malone said, "This was a turning point. When I saw Jokic's performance on the court, and that desire to win, I realized that he must start in the next game." In the next game, Jokic returned to the starting lineup, and the Nuggets were also on the right track. "I've never been interested in basketball since I was a child. I feel like crying whenever I play basketball. Who would have thought that the best center in the league right now, Jokic, didn't like to play basketball in his childhood?" As it came to 2017, after Nuggets confirmed to promote Jokic, Nurkic was traded to the Trail Blazers not long after. When Jokic returned to the starting lineup, the team put up a 3-game winning streak. In trading Nurkic and keeping Jokic, it's not to say Nurkic wasn't good. On the contrary, Nurkic showed his strength at the Trail Blazers. But Jokic was the best fit for the Nuggets. He not only performed exceptionally individually, more importantly, he could drive the offensive of his teammates. Like a high post, with a broad passing vision, accurate and ghost-like passes, driving the team's offense. In the Nuggets system, Jokic played like a fish in water, achieved his first career triple-double against the Bucks, dropped a career-high 40 points against the Knicks. This season, Jokic averaged 16.7 points, 9.8 rebounds, 4.9 assists per game. He came second in the Most Improved Player of the Year. Also, in the same year, the Nuggets decided that Jokic was the cornerstone of the team. Moving on to the 17-18 season, now the Nuggets have hoarded players like Murray and Millsap. Plus Jokic's steady performance gave the Nuggets hope of returning to the playoffs and vying for the O'Brien Cup. Jokic's stats kept improving. Against the Nets, he again set a career high with 41 points, and also created the fastest triple-double record in NBA history. On February 15, 2018, against the Bucks, Jokic, in the second quarter, got 16 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, in just 14 minutes. In this season, Jokic created miracles time and time again, producing a triple-double 3 times in a row with 15 assists. In such a season where his individual performance was so perfect, the Nuggets were just one game away from the playoffs. In the last game of the season against the Timberwolves, Jokic scored 35 points and 10 rebounds, but they lost in overtime. The Nuggets finished the season with 46 wins, missed the playoffs. Since Jokic joined the Nuggets, the team's record has climbed year by year. 33 wins in the first year, 40 wins in the second year, 46 wins in the third year. They were just one step away from returning to the playoffs after being absent for a long time. He is always the first one to come to practice, and the last one to leave, because he wants to be our example. Allow others to follow in his footsteps. That's how Millsap described Jokic. In the 18-19 season, the Nuggets gave Jokic a 5-year, $148 million contract. After the signing, Jokic's mentality went through a subtle change. Basketball was no longer just his interest. It became his responsibility. As the leader of the team, and the core of the team, he must lead this team to go further, to make the team stronger. In the second game of the new season, Jokic showed his dominance. In the game against the Suns, he had 35 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, and all of this was done without a turnover. And he made 11 out of 11 shots, achieving a triple-double with a 100% hitting rate. He is the first one to do so after Zhang Dashui. In this season, Jokic had an average of 20.1 points, 10.8 rebounds, 7.3 assists. For the first time, he was selected into the best lineup and All-Star. The Nuggets starting lineup had blended well in this season. With a regular season record of 54 wins and 28 losses, it was the best result since the 12-13 season. At one point they even ranked first in the West. The Nuggets officially announced their return to the playoffs in the first round against the Spurs, who were 7th in the West. Even though the Spurs didn't have GDP and Leonard as obstacles anymore, facing the strongest brain Popovich, the Nuggets didn't take it lightly. Jokic got a triple-double in the first game, leading the team to a 101-96 victory. Then both sides entered a tug-of-war. In the sixth game, Jokic broke the Nuggets' playoff scoring record with 43 points. But the Spurs showed their resilience. Both sides dragged the game into 7. Eventually, the Nuggets made it to the second round, after a day's rest. In the second round, they faced the Trail Blazers led by Lillard. The two teams were evenly matched. Jokic scored 37 points in the first game. Lillard had 39 points. Nuggets won the first game at home. In the second game, the Trail Blazers won one back. In the third game, one of the most exciting games of the playoffs that year, both sides went back and forth, resulting in 4 overtimes. Murray played for 60 minutes. Jokic played for 65 minutes. Almost without rest, Jokic burned off all his fat, scored 33 points, grabbed 18 rebounds, and dished out 14 assists. But the Nuggets still lost in the end, despite being stretched to the 7th game in the series. Unfortunately, the Nuggets couldn't get past the Trail Blazers. Despite being eliminated, Jokic's brilliant performance left a deep impression on everyone. This kid, who once had no interest in basketball, has now transformed into one of the top centers in the league. Basketball is no longer just his interest, or just his work, but a way for him to prove his worth, to display his capabilities. After experiencing this crazy playoff run, he set his sights on the future. The management retained the team roster during the offseason. The team members also kept growing. Next, the Nuggets aimed at the championship. I always see myself as a point guard trapped inside a center's body. I told that to everyone, but no one believes me apart from myself. Jokic described himself. Moving on to the 20-21 season. This is Jokic's 6th season in the NBA. At 26, he posted career highs in stats, averaging 26.4 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 8.3 assists per game. His free throw percentage was also a solid 86.8%. The team also continued its competitiveness from the last season, returning to the playoffs with a record of 47 wins and 26 losses, placed 3rd in the West. Though they broke through the first round successfully, in the second round, they met the Suns with exploding team chemistry and got swept. This was because multiple players got injured and were unable to play. In this season, Jokic was selected to the first team again and was successfully named as the regular season's MVP. He also became the first player in NBA history to win this prestigious award as a second-round pick. He was the second center to win this award in the past 20 years after Shaquille O'Neal. After a whole season of recuperation, moving on to the 21-22 season, Jokic's performance kept improving steadily, averaging a career-high 27.1 points, 13.8 rebounds, and 7.9 assists, leading the team once again to the playoffs with a record of 48 wins and 34 losses, as 6th in the West. Unfortunately, they got eliminated by the Warriors, who eventually won the championship with a 1-4. Although the postseason performance was less satisfactory, Jokic was unanimously voted as the regular season's MVP again, proving his value once more. In this offseason, The Nuggets offered Jokic an early renewal of a 5-year, $270 million worth contract. Upon receiving the interview, Jokic stated, "Compared to an MVP, if I could choose, I would rather have a championship. We believe in the next season. A complete version of the Nuggets can certainly be a strong contender for the championship. He is not only equipped with the most suitable attributes for a center in the small ball era, his emotional quotient and intelligence quotient are also top-notch. What's even more terrifying is, this version of Jokic is only 27 years old. In the future, he still has ample room to grow. As long as the Nuggets have him, nothing is impossible. As long as he is there, the Nuggets can bring out the best chemistry. That's the important reason why the Nuggets offered him a max contract. It's also the reason why fans love him so much. As long as he can keep this performance, in the future, he can certainly become the most powerful, complete, and unique superstar. He is the brightest gold nugget in Denver's Nuggets, Nikola Jokic. Also looking forward to seeing him lead the Nuggets to go further in the playoffs next season." Well, that's the end of this episode. I am the quarterback. Follow me, continuously bringing you more basketball stories.